Hello and welcome, CT owners, to the walkthrough of the new and improved monthly tracking, invoicing, and reporting workbook. Let me just say, I am so excited to finally be sharing this with you because this isn't just a spreadsheet anymore. It is a true game changer for you business owners. This workbook is the result of thoughtful feedback and countless conversations with a handful of you rookie owners. So I really appreciate all the time and energy and care that went into those conversations with me. So thank you for that. I am greatly appreciative. The goal has always been clear to simplify your life as a business owner, keep your business organized, and provide clearer insights into the financial health of your operations. When I began revamping this tool, I didn't just want to check boxes. I wanted to create something that really truly empowered you as owners. A tool that makes you feel confident in your data, your reports, and more importantly, your next steps. This workbook is packed with features designed to take the guesswork out of tracking client projects, consolidating metrics, and generating detailed monthly reports that help you make informed decisions for your business. Now, I'll be honest, this workbook is going to feel overwhelming at first. It's going to feel like that because it's complex. It's built to handle so many aspects of your business, from entering client-specific data to analyzing profitability and everything that falls in between. But rest assured, it's designed to be intuitive, efficient, and an incredibly productive tool for you. Once you see how all the pieces fit together, you'll realize just how much easier your workflows can be. Now, what's really exciting is the next two pieces. The value that this workbook brings through your CT bids metrics. These metrics allow you to showcase your performance and results in a way that sets you apart from your competitors. Imagine being able to confidently share data like your average lot value, your bid to view ratio, average number of bids per auction, average bidder spend at an auction, or an average number of bids a bidder places to demonstrate the engagement and interest your auctions generate. Highlighting this data offers transparency that potential clients will value. It's not just about running auctions, it's about being able to deliver measurable success and results. And let's not forget about the powerful insights this workbook will give you into your employee performance. With data like lots per hour, average lot value, individual revenue contributions, and individual direct labor costs, you'll know exactly who your key performers are. You'll have the tools to identify potential trainers and team leads, or provide targeted feedback and additional training to those where it's needed. It's about building a stronger, more efficient team while keeping your profitability on track. This workbook is your secret weapon for managing client invoices, tracking KPIs, and streamlining your month-end reporting. I've paid close attention to the details so you can focus on what matters most, running and scaling your business. Let's jump in and explore all the possibilities. By the end of this walkthrough, you'll have a tool you can trust, one that makes even the busiest months feel manageable, and it'll help you stand out in your marketplace. Let's get started. So you guys are currently looking at the instructions tab. So we're going to start here and go through the structure of the workbook. Sorry. These tabs are color coded to make navigation simple and intuitive down here at the bottom. Scroll back this way. The gray tabs, these are your foundation and instructions. So we've got the default setup, the instructions, and the glossary. And we'll get into each of those a little bit more throughout this walkthrough. These 3 tabs are designed to guide you and provide context for using the workbook. Think of them as your how-to resources or as your defaults that are going to feed into some of the worksheets in this workbook. Your Navy tabs, example, client, and invoice last, these tabs are going to act as boundary markers for calculations. So all client invoices must stay in between these 2 tabs to ensure accurate reporting. The neon tabs, these are your individual client invoices, like client 1 or client 2. This is where you'll input project specific data for each client. The invoice template, this is going to be the tab that you use to copy and create new clients like client 3 or 5 or 15. The salmon tab, this is the shipping and handling tab. Here's where you'll track your weekly shipping revenue, which flows directly into your reporting summaries. The berry tab, this is the monthly reporting summary tab. So this consolidates all the completed invoiced projects. This is where you'll get your quick snapshot of the sales report that you'll need to then plug into Fran Connect at the beginning of every month when you make your sales report. The teal tab is the monthly profit summary. And this breaks down project by project basis. So project cost, including different KPIs such as your direct labor percentage or your gross to net revenue ratio. The sky blue tab, this is your monthly metric summary. So this tab aggregates all your financial KPIs, the CT bids metrics, and your employee metrics data into one comprehensive monthly report. All right, so that's what those tabs are. Oops, I guess I wasn't quite all the way over here. So that's that last one. So step number 2 is going to be entering in your location and default information. Okay, so before you start working on client specific data, make sure your defaults are set here. So if they're not, head to this default setup tab and be sure that you have entered in all of your location details, okay, which will include your website link, your email link, and then this select home state. This is going to feed into your CT bids metrics, okay? So it's important that you select your state because this is going to be figuring out, giving you those metrics on the percentage of your sale that was shipped, the percentage of your sale that's in state versus out of state. There's like 3 or 4 metrics that are being tracked by this state that you live in. So when you click on the cell, there's an arrow over here that you want to just click on this drop down arrow. So then you'll have a list of all the states that you're working with. So you'll just select the state and that will again populate into all of your client invoices moving forward. Okay. All of this information will. I do recommend that you paste your Google review QR code here and on your client template, your invoice template tab. Unfortunately, because it's like a pasted item, this doesn't auto-populate into your client invoices. So this is why I'm recommending that you put it here just so it's quick and easy, accessible in this workbook, and you don't have to go find it if you have an employee doing this or an accountant. It's just already going to be there in case anybody needs to just grab it and reference it really quick. There is a spot on the invoice that I'll show you in a minute when we get there, where it clearly says paste your Google review QR code here. If you do this on your invoice template, that will copy and translate into all those additional templates or client invoices that you generate in the future. Okay. Let's scoot over here to this right side where it says fixed monthly expenses. So again, if you input all of your monthly expenses here and the direct cost of what they are here, this section is going to feed into your other monthly summary reports, more specifically to help you understand and get to the calculation of what your net profits were and those net margin ratios that we want to find. Okay. Excuse me. And then this bottom part over here is going to be your employee data. Okay. So again, this is going to feed into all of your client inventory or invoices, as well as that monthly metrics summary tab at the very end where it's generating all your employee metrics. Essentially what you want to do here is input your employee's name and their pay rate. And once you do that, then you'll want to come up here where it says select loaded labor percentage rate. So this is going to be all of your fees that go into like the taxes, the workman's comp, the SUTA, the FICA, the FUTA, all of those things that make up of your payroll costs for each week that you run payroll. You're going to want to select this drop down, and I've inputted, the range from what I've kind of heard in my 3 years of being here. So you want to select whatever that percentage rate markup is. So I'm going to just kind of land in the middle at 24 right now. And then you want to come over here to this other green neon box to select what your direct labor cost percentage is. So if you're a 10-year owner and you know what your percentage, labor percentage is, you can go ahead and select that. If you're a new owner, then we want you shooting for somewhere between 25 and 33. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of land in the middle at 30 right now. And once I do that, I hit the calculate sheet just because I have it set up like that. I will talk about that a little bit further down the line when I get into these instructions. But just so you can see the calculation right now, it's going to do essentially what the accelerator is doing for you and on what your billable hourly rate should be and what your loaded pay rate is. But this is going to do it for each individual employee. Okay. So that's going to be your employee data. Again, this is your fixed monthly expenses. And this part right here is going to be your company information. Okay. So this is the default and setup page. Let's just come over here real quick and look at your glossary just so you can see what this page looks like. Again, this is just going to have some terms and definitions that you're going to see throughout the workbook. So financial definitions come in first, as well as your CT bids key performance definitions that we've inputted in here. It's going to tell you what it's tracking and what the purpose of it is. And then finally, these key performance employee definitions that will really help you understand your business and your employees a lot better. So that's the glossary tab. Now let's go to step 3, filling out client invoice tabs, okay? Let's just walk through this really quickly. We're not going to create a client invoice. I'm going to do that on another video that's a little bit shorter. But just so you can see this example client, what it looks like, okay? So this left side, column A through H, is essentially your client tally. This is where you're going to input income and charges for the client's project, okay? There are also lots of interactions that are happening with this within this worksheet as well that we'll get to when we generate an actual invoice for a client. But just so you can kind of see what this looks like all the way down, and it'll just give you some more information, KPIs down here at the bottom. So that's what this left side is doing. This is all internal basis. It will never go to a client. The client will never see this. This is essentially going to be for you, any team leads that are using this, or managers, or accountants and bookkeepers, okay? The right side of this is going to be your client facing invoice, okay? So this section auto-populates based on the entries that you entered over here on the left side of this worksheet. It's also formatted to serve as a printable invoice for your client. So if I were to come over here and print this invoice and I do Control P, you can see all that is coming up to be printed is this invoice right here. So I can print it. If I want to email it to a client, then I want to save this as a PDF. And so, or if I want to send it as an email, I can do a PDF link, or I can do it as a PDF file. So if I hit save as an Adobe, oh, I guess I can't do that. Convert to a PDF, and then it'll allow me to save it that way. If we wanted to add a new client invoice, because we have a third client, then what you want to do is you want to navigate here to the invoice template. You want to right click on it. You want to scroll up and select move or copy. You want to check this box that says create a copy. And then you also need to select the tab that you want this new invoice to be placed in front of, okay? And so again, because we need it to be within that range of example client and invoice last, you want to just put it in front of invoice template. So that way invoice template stands between invoice last, and it'll keep it in line with all of your other client invoices. So once we hit invoice template and hit OK, that will, you can see, will generate another invoice. And so all we then do is double click on the tab and we just rename it. Okay. So that's adding a new client invoice. Scroll down here. Next, we have the shipping and handling tab. So use this tab to enter weekly shipping revenue. The data here will automatically flow into both your monthly reporting summary and your monthly metric summary. So remember, shipping revenue is treated as earned income. So make sure to input it here regularly. Next, we have our reporting summaries, which consist of the monthly reporting summary, the monthly profit summary, and the monthly metric summary. So the Berry tab is the monthly reporting summary. Again, this tab consolidates all the data from all the completed and invoiced project invoices. You're going to use this data to plug into Fran Connect at the beginning of every month when you go in and generate your monthly sales report. Only include fully completed invoiced projects when submitting your sales report at the beginning of every month. The monthly profit summary tab, the teal tab, this tab provides a detailed breakdown of project costs and profitability. You'll see KPIs like percentages and revenue ratios to help you evaluate the performance. Okay. This is also going to help you see if you're charging enough for your services. Finally, we have the monthly metrics summary tab. This is your comprehensive performance dashboard. It combines financial KPIs, CT bid metrics, and those employee level data, to keep you in the full picture of your business's performance. Not to keep you, I'm sorry, to give you. Okay. And we will talk a little bit more about this once we create an invoice and we see how it generates the information. All right, let's scroll back here to the instructions tab and we'll come down. So we have went through entering location default information, filling out a client invoice. We're going to do that in a separate video because it is going to be a little bit more detailed in training. So that'll be a separate video. We've went through adding a client invoice tab. We walked you through the shipping and handling, the monthly reporting summary, the profit summary, and the metric summary. So let's talk about the locked fields. Okay. You guys are going to input data only in the neon fields. So if we pop back over here to this default setup page, I've already kind of showed you where you're going to input information, right? So all of these neon colored tabs or cells are where you're going to input information, okay? They are bright and easy identifiable, okay? The gray fields, these contain preset formulas and automated calculations. So these are the cells and the fields that are going to be locked to prevent any kind of accidental edits, okay? So editing these fields can cause errors in the workbook's functionality. So that is why they have been locked for your protection, all right? If you need to make modifications to any locked fields, you can unlock them using the password. And I've included that here for you. It's 000000. If you are Excel savvy, then you know how to go ahead and you can go ahead and do that and manage it. If you're not, I've kind of given you a couple tips here to do that on how you can navigate, the sheet where you want to unlock the fields. You would want to go to the review tab on the review on the ribbon and select unprotected sheet. So if I was up here on review, I'd want to come here to protect sheet. It would be already protected. I would come here and I would put the password in to unprotect it. Okay. But please be cautious when editing these locked fields. Make sure to double check formulas and calculations to avoid disrupting the workbook's functionality. As well as you need to be aware of our next instruction, which is understanding the macros and calculation settings within this workbook. This workbook uses macros to automate tasks and streamline processes. A few key points that you need to know and understand. So you do need to save this workbook as a macro enabled file with the .xlsm extension file. If you save this as a regular workbook, the .xlsx extension file, you'll save it as a regular workbook and those macros will be removed. So all the functionality of this workbook will be gone. I've also set this workbook to manual calculations to keep the workbook running quickly. The calculations are set to manual. And so you can find that up here again at the top ribbon under the formulas tab. And then over here to the far right, you see where it says calculation options. If you drop that arrow down, you'll see where it's checked as manual. To calculate an active sheet that you're working on, you can do two things. You can hit Shift and F9 at the same time, or if you just have this formula tab open on your ribbon bar, you could just come over here to the right side and hit Calculate Sheet, and it'll update any sort of data that you have inputted into the spreadsheet. Why do I have a manual calculation? Some of you are probably thinking. Well, because manual calculations prevent lags in larger workbooks like this one, and it'll give you control over when updates occur. This setup is particularly useful when working with large databases or running macros. It also ensures you're not waiting for unnecessary updates to process, okay? So it's pretty critical to do that. It is going to be a step that you're probably not used to doing. But again, you're probably not also used to using Excel spreadsheets that have macros into them. So it's been a game changer for me, guys, and I hope it's a game changer for you as well. All right, step number 9 is going to be notes, red flags, and, just a little bit of final instructions for you guys. So look for red flags in the upper right-hand corners of cells. So for example, where did my cursor go? Let's come back over here real quick. So you see there's all these red flags here. If I hover over the cell, it tells me what I need to do, right? For example, enter employee's actual pay rate here. If I come up to this one, it says click the drop down arrow and choose your loaded pay rate. This includes not only an employee's base hourly wage, but also additional costs associated with paying employing that person. Okay. So that's just what these notes are for. The glossary tab, don't forget about this guy, is also a great resource for understanding the key metrics. I know these definitions that we use are very intertwining and can be confusing at times. So instead of overwhelming you with notes within the worksheets and the cells themselves, it was feedback that was given to just create a glossary section that feels less overwhelming within the workbook. So I thought that was great feedback, and voila, here you go. All right, and finally, let's get back over here to this instructions tab. Finally, it's important that you use one of these workbooks for each month. So once you get the workbook, save it as that XLSM enabled macro workbook, and save one for January, one for February, one for March, so on and so forth. At the end of each month, the non-invoiced client sheets, either move them behind the invoice last before running any of your monthly reporting summaries, or you can then just go ahead and copy and paste them into your forwarding into the forwarding month. So if you're in February and you got to move it to March, open the March workbook, copy it, and paste it into that workbook, and I'll show you how to do that later on. Finally, watch this demo and go through the step-by-step guide that is also going to be provided here before using the spreadsheet. That way you actually use the spreadsheet. I don't want you to feel so overwhelmed and bogged down by the complexity of this spreadsheet and then just not use it. So leverage me, leverage your regional coach if you're a 10-year owner, to really help you understand and work through the pains of this worksheet so it can be a very powerful tool for you. And that's it, you guys. This workbook is your new go-to tool for tracking client projects, analyzing metrics, and preparing your monthly reports. By following these steps, you'll have everything you need to stay organized and run your business efficiently. Thank you for joining me on this walkthrough. Please join me for the next video on how to leverage and use and input all the data into a client invoice tab. And with that video, I will show you all the functionalities of all the buttons within those monthly reporting summaries. So thank you again, and please give me feedback after you've used the spreadsheet for a couple of months. Let me know what your bookkeepers say, what your accountants say. What will make this workbook be even better for you? How can it be more customizable for you? Let's talk about it. Let's fix it. Let's make it to be what it is that you need it to be, so you can have a lot of answers at the tip of your fingertips. Knowledge is power. The more you guys know, the more you can do to further progress your business to where you want it to be. Okay? So thank you again. Please join me on the next video of creating an actual client invoice or invoices. I'll probably do a couple so you can see, and then we'll play around with all those monthly reporting tabs so we can see the excitement of our results. Thanks again, guys, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great day.